I'd like to define the concept and meaning of sustainable vertical urbanism. Today I'm going to present design for flexibility through examples of our design work. Being an architect, it's easier for me to speak about projects, and through this I'll try to prove our thesis. There are three important principles for our design approach. The first relates to the context and how the work under design can become integrated with the context of the urban fabric, scale organization of movement, existing building types, cultural heritage, and the historical context. Thus, the architecture of and the urban problem is always more than just designing a tower. The second of these principles is the research-based design. Research-based design treats design as a complex process of investigation and analysis. We will focus our research on flexibility. The third principle is a constant search for new innovative urban typologies. Much of our work in the city of Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is a modern city founded in the beginning of the 20th century. It's a unique city that its early form was created almost totally in the style of the European modernism. The central portion of the city was designed according to the plan of the British Sir Patrick Geddes as an urban structure of low-dense urban fabric formed by urban block structure and an urban open space system. Being a seaside city, which Geddes did not appreciate because he's Scottish, there's a lot of water in Scotland, but not here, the view of the city has also become a valuable commodity of the design. As you can see clearly from this slide, the city of Tel Aviv is now in a transitional situation in developing from low-dense urban fabric to a condition of vertical urbanism. The transition demands a unique response from the architect in supporting the coexistence of the existing fabric with a new development of the vertical urbanism. Here we see a map view of the urban fabric of Tel Aviv in relationship to the sea and the major elements of the urban structure. It's a greater Tel Aviv, and we are talking also about Ramat Gan as well. We see it as one unit. The 20 projects that we have completed in our office or in the process of design in our office provide a case study to our research to create a transitional urban of Tel Aviv. I am going to use 6 of them dotted in red in order to demonstrate our thesis. Flexibility is an important factor in creating sustainable vertical urbanism. I'll consider 4 classes of flexibility that I will try to demonstrate. The first one is the basic unit form and zoning. The second one is the floor plate form and the zoning inside the floor plate. The third one will be the tower morphology. And the last one will be the multiple tower morphology and hybrid towers. In the third one, the basic unit form and zoning, we will deal about variability and adaptability in the dwelling unit and also in the office design. We'll start from Be'er Nardea complex. Be'er Nardea is a complex inserted in the existing urban fabric of Tel Aviv, which is mostly low-rise. So actually, we started from locating a low-rise building in order to recontrast the quality of this street. It's called Be'er Street, as a residential Tel Aviv street in the Tel Aviv style. This site was abandoned by public building, and it was just a want in the urban fabric. And then this low-rise building defined inner garden, which is both public and private. This public is a continuation of the big public garden south of this project and continues together. It supplies the public opportunity to cut through the project and go to the public garden and on. In the middle of this garden, we've located the high riser. And we see that rather actually the lobby of the tall building is actually the garden that defined by the walls of the low-rise buildings. So actually we call this urban room, in which we located the tower and also its lobby. This is an example of contextually responsible landscape urbanism used as a medium of existing urban fabric. The tower itself is designed as a composition of asymmetrical volumes, which give priority to a bigger floor plate at the higher part of the tower, because they value more, they enjoy more the view, and they sell for more dollar per square meter. But this was the basis for our architectural composition as a non-regular tall building. We can see the change in the plan of the floor plate, starting from down up, and it's become bigger and bigger. It also creates a bigger basis for cutting the volume for the penthouses. And by changing the edge condition of the tower, we produce a huge variety of the apartment as a lot for the interior design, which is free for the interior designers. We supply two kinds of flexibility. First is the variability. Variability that we can cut out of the typical floor some apartments, 3 or 2 or 1 in one typical floor, or 4. The second one is the adaptability. Adaptability, that means somebody has already bought the apartment and he wants to adapt it to his own way of living, and also to adapt it to the life cycle changes. Like if the nuclear family becoming old, people go out and have many guests inside, and etc. I'd like to demonstrate in one of the apartments, and to see that in the interior design of this apartment, we have created what we call a magic cube. This magic cube is consisted of double walls. Inside there are sliding panels. The sliding panels can go in and out and close and open the space, and thus gain some private spaces or open spaces according to the needs of the family, which change in time every day. The second principle is the floor plate form and zoning. Core design and functional space relationship creates intermediate zone of flexibility. We will demonstrate this on the project 6 Remes Tower, also in Tel Aviv. As you can see, the project enjoys a very nice view to the seashore, which is a great value. Optimizing this sea view generates a basic morphology of this tower. We can see the magnificent view from one of the terraces of the tower itself. So we started with a very basic rectangular shape. We've given priority to the facade facing the sea, the west. And in order to maximize the use of the western location of the square meters of the apartment, we move the core of the building instead in the middle of center to the other side, to the east. Thus, we allow inside the apartments the full freedom to design the apartments according to one's needs and also to change it. Furthermore, we located all the structural columns in the exterior envelope, so actually we really gain an open space inside the apartments. And then we located on the lower part smaller balconies facing the west, and on the upper part bigger because the value more bigger balconies all facing the west. The plan is very interesting because we have created a core with double lobby. There is a back lobby which is acts as a technical lobby, also for firefighting people and technicians and etc. And actually all the dirty work is done here. And there is a front lobby which should be elegant and very nicely designed, as we consider it as a semi-private space. When you go out from the elevator, you're already in front of the dwelling unit, even if there are some yes or no. And thus, although the shape is very rigid, we created a lot of flexibility in dividing the floor plans and the apartments and dividing them. The formal elements of the building actually, especially this wind, actually define the volume of the building up to the edge of the balconies. So the balconies are included inside the volume of the building and not sticking out of it. And this pergola actually acts like a portico which completes this form of defining the presence of the building without the balcony sticking out of it. It also gives privacy, a bit of privacy to the balconies from the wind and etc. We have developed a special curtain wall system. It's the first one in the world, together with Kaunir, in which we can have an open-able window every second module, opening inside, and still avoid the double framing. I'll explain it in the detail. So if you see the sections, we divided the curtain wall profile into two parts, and half of it belongs to the window frame. Thus, we can see any difference between where is the window and where is the normal curtain wall frame. And thus, we maintain the uniformity of the facade, although having many openable windows, which is the desire of every residential unit. There is a double glazing with a dynamic electric moved shading inside. And the way everybody in his own apartment, in his room, decided to bring it up or down or change the angle of it, create a random pattern on the facade, which is part of the design of the facade, but it also reflects the activity of the residential building to the outside. So it's not anonymous, it's not hostile. But it also has a very great benefit from climate point of view, because this is a low iron, very transparent glass, and the low E coating is on face V, so when the shading gets heated, it discharges the heat outside and not inside. We have taken great care how the building meets the ground with the landscaping, and the project provides a public space in which the public can use and also enjoy near the building. I am glad to mention that this project has been chosen last year as a finalist of the best tall building in the region of Middle East and Africa. And thank you, the CTBUH, for that. The next one is flexibility of a dynamic envelope building, design of the floor plan in a way that its relationship to its form. So we will demonstrate it in the Azrieli Sarona office tower. This project was designed together with the late architect David Azrieli. We have designed it together. It's the biggest office building in Tel Aviv so far. It's now under construction. And it is in a near historic place, and so we started the composition with relating ourselves to the grid of the adjacent historic place. So even though the volume is rotating, the ground floor started from parallel lines, and then it started the rotation. Because of a huge building rights in this building, we found ourselves with a very big building. The big building is also a very big floor plate. It's 2,500 per typical floor. And we wanted to create a composition in which the big volume will look slender and nice, and also look different from each side that you see it when you move inside the city. So we have created two volumes and rotated them. But while rotating, they shift one from the other in order to create this dramatic composition of the three-dimensional volume design of the building, which is not just a rotated building, but two volumes dancing one against the other. And then the tower is also coming down to the piazza and touching the ground, and this is also the entrance to the main street. We have taken great care in the way we do the rotation. First of all, in order to achieve the shift of the volumes, we have chosen a rotation of each half in a different center. So the rotation in different center creates the shifting of the movement and not only the rotation. Secondly, we checked carefully the amount of rotation in order to get the the difference in each module in a way that the envelope will be feasible and in budget and will be easy to achieve. We, of course, used in just a big building a 3-zone elevator system. And while in each zone we lose some of the elevator and gain more net space, we also get a rotation of the typical floor. So actually we get different experience and different floor plates each floor, which gives some variety in all the building, although it's 50 floors. We are now considering, together with our client, a very special double skin system that the interior is a vertical white grid inside, and the exterior skin is a hyperparabolic plane, continuous, with all these are parallelogram shapes, exactly according to the twist of the building. And because due to cold forming of the glass, we have a perfect continuation of the glass plane with not any sticking out or inside, or which I think will damage the perfection of it. This project is in Ramat Gan city, and it's headquarters of an insurance company, and it's located in one of the busiest streets in Ramat Gan. The street is have a very heavy vehicular movement. The site is very narrow, so we've decided, in order to maximize the use of the typical floor, to locate again the core asymmetrically, and we put it to the street side. And also we use transparent elevators behind the glass wall in order just to get the motion of the elevators that are going up and down as part of the drama the building is doing. So the intensive vertical movement of the elevator is juxtaposed with the intensive horizontal movement of the road in the dynamic situation. A bit philosophic, but we feel it. And also this diagonal line, this twisted plane, is very simple because the back line is vertical. And all the connection between this vertical line and this diagonal line within the front, which creates the twisted plane only in one side of the building, and of course create a bigger floor plate in the upper side of the building. And we also decided to divide the two zones asymmetrically and give priority to the transparent elevators which are running in the front of the building to the street. The next one, we go back to Tel Aviv Midtown, actually, is a very big project. It's used to be an industrial abandoned zone, free space, and we created from here a small urban event, or not even so small. First of all, we decided to define a center as a green space. It's a linear green space, like let's say a central garden. And then around it, we organize volumes, low-rise volumes, which in the scale of the fabric of Tel Aviv, all these. On top of it, we located 4 towers on top of it. So as you can see, the low-rise, with several levels of commercial activities and public, located around this central garden, actually create a very vibrant and very busy and very active surrounding, with priority to pedestrian, priority to people using it. And it's a very good basis to the towers standing on top of it. So we also incorporated public activity as a focus point of this public linear space. There is a public sport building owned by the Tel Aviv municipality. You are frightening me with this, I don't know. And now the building, we tried to get an urban event with a very simple act. So we have chosen exactly in the point of the golden section, which is supposed to be the nicest ratio. And this just shifted the upper volume a bit in few angles, calculated how much it cost. And of course, there is a transformation, structural transformation. But also we gained, just in the middle of the building, a penthouse office, which its volume is higher because of the beams of the transformation. But what we wanted to gain is the urban event on the skyline for Tel Aviv, which symbolizes where this project is. And then the residential building consists of many small apartments which give solution to social needs of young couples who want to live in Tel Aviv, but of course they cannot afford very expensive apartments. The next one is a multiple tower morphology, and we are using a urban scale connector within them to get some urban activities. We created these two towers as rectangular volumes, moving one from the other, dancing one in front of the other, of course each one in different composition, and thus we gaining so many open terraces adjacent, connecting to the offices, but also a nice composition of two volumes, dancing one each against the other. But what's more important, that the project is at the edge of the linear space, public linear space, that the city of Tel Aviv have created. And we wanted this project to be the focus point of this project, of all this space, the destination of all this space. So actually we have created a linear atrium, or let's say a connector between these two, and this space of double height, it's of course access to the public, wherever public uses, commercial uses, cafe, restaurant, and also actually an urbanic lounge, and also of course lobby to these two buildings. By this, it's actually the same ambition as we have seen in Midtown before, but Midtown was a large-scale urbanic project, and this is a smaller scale of only two buildings. But actually, the intention and the achievement are the same. We also created sky bridges, in which also is a public activity, in order also to stress the public use of the building off the ground level. And I've demonstrated some of my principles in cities of Tel Aviv and Ramat Gan, but we are working outside Israel in about 32 countries, and we try to employ these principles also around the world. And always we try to use the integration of the urban context, which is the most important thing, use the research-based design, and developing the new typologies. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.